Hello there, and welcome to Transformation Tuesday. I'm your health coach, John Garcia for UpLevel Living. Thank you for joining me. If you're watching live, today is Tuesday, January the 28th, and we're going to talk a little bit today about keto dieting and intermittent fasting and how each one of them, what they are, and also how they work together. It's definitely some of it's the most popular diet that I get asked about and that I see people doing or trying to do. And intermittent fasting, just continues to remain very relevant and very effective. So I wanted to talk about those two things. The last 3 weeks, we've been talking about habits and setting goals, and I'm going to touch on that for a minute. But before I do any of that, again, if you're watching live, today's Tuesday the 28th, and on Sunday there was, really tragic news of Kobe Bryant dying in a helicopter accident with his daughter, and a total of 9 people perished in this horrible accident. And I'm a basketball junkie. I grew up though, a little bit. I'm a little bit older. Kobe's 41. I'm 50. So I was watching, the Jordan era, and Kobe came a little bit after. And I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't the biggest Kobe fan. So there was a lot of people in my generation that said he tried to copy Jordan. As a mature adult now, Jesus, to copy Jordan and that's not an insult. That's the epitome of the sport, and this guy was just as amazing. Um, and I think now a lot of people are coming around and giving him a lot of kudos, and he just wasn't the kind of guy that was getting, I think, the kudos and respect from the fan base outside of LA that I definitely think he deserved. But it's obvious that he's earned, with the other players and everything else. And the guy's 5 NBA championships. He won 2 completely on his own. He won 3 with Shaq, but he won 2 after Shaq left, like completely on his own. No offense to guys that were on his team, but they would probably admit the same thing. Um, he has 2 gold medal basketball Olympics, and he has an Oscar. I mean, the guy won an Oscar in 2018 for an animated short, story called Dear Basketball. When I saw him, I remember I was watching that Oscars, and then I saw him, announce and come on stage, and I was like, that kind of reignited my, interest in Kobe, because for me, he had kind of gone away for a while. Then I find out, like now, he has his basketball academy, and there's no doubt that the second half of his life, and we'll talk about transformation, and we'll talk about, midlife and finding your passion and identity. Here's a guy that at 41, really transformed right away from that basketball career to what I love, what he talks about all the time is helping people reach their untapped potential. And I think as a health coach, what motivates me the most is spotting someone's untapped potential, bringing it out in them so that they can see it themselves, and igniting something that they never even knew that they had. To me, spotting talent like that is a talent, and that's where I think I've kind of done that throughout the year when I worked in the music business, and it absolutely fulfills me. It definitely is what I want to always continue to do. So to Kobe and his family, it's just there's no words, and even though I wasn't a direct Impact fan, just by loving basketball and the game, I just always appreciated his work ethic and how he would tell you what he was going to do, and he would do it, and you couldn't stop him. You have to respect someone that was, just that amazing and talented and worked so hard. Nothing came easy. But I'm watching ESPN, and somebody was mentioning something with Kobe Bryant and some other players, and somebody asked him, "What book will you read?" And that perked my interest, and it's Jonathan Livingston Seagull is the name of the book. And I had never heard of it before, so of course right away looked it up. The book tells the story of Jonathan Livingston Seagull, a seagull who is bored with daily squabbles over food. Seized by a passion for flight, he pushes himself and learns everything he can about flying. His increasing unwillingness to conform finally results in his expulsion from the flock. Now an outcast, he continues to learn, becoming increasingly pleased with his abilities while leading a peaceful and happy life. And I'm thinking, man, here's Kobe Bryant in a story, like this is kind of like, if you look at his transformation and, not conforming and just bored with the status quo and finding his own way and blazing his own trail, and then learning, nonstop learning, which is what this guy does. He had 3 languages mastered: Italian, Spanish, English. I think he was learning German. So never stops learning and becoming increasingly pleased with his abilities while leading a peaceful and happy life. And I think the lesson he took from here, he definitely applied it to his life. I'm going to definitely buy this book and read it, and I know there's going to be a lot that can be applied to health coaching. And then there's 3 little, not quotes, but little things that I underline. And there's a part where they meet some other seagulls, and they teach them how to go to anywhere in the universe. And the secret to doing that was, it says, begin by knowing that you have already arrived. And in faith and in prayer, it says, believe and you'll receive, and act like you have it and you will get it. And here it is again: begin by knowing that you have already arrived. And I think when we're going through transformation, we doubt so much the outcome because of all the different things that are being said to us or we're experiencing. You got to really begin with that end in mind. When you begin by knowing that you have already arrived, you have this unwavering, confidence. It doesn't matter that it doesn't mean it's going to be easy. It doesn't mean that these obstacles that come your way are not going to trip you up, but you have this picture, this vision, beginning with the end in mind, the purpose, the fulfillment, that's going to drive you when motivation goes away. So I love that quote, or that, approach to life. And then in part 2 of the book, there's a part that says he realized that you have to be true to yourself. You have the freedom to be yourself, your true self, here and now, and nothing can stand in your way. So when we talk again about health coaching and transforming yourself, we talk again about purpose and identity and connecting to your true self, because if not, you're always trying to be and do something, that you're not. So you got to really do that dirty work to find out, what your true self is, what you stand for, so that you can align your behaviors to your beliefs. And then you're just being yourself. You're not trying different methods and different tactics that don't fit. And then the last part I love, because it is love. It says the last 3 words that the teacher in the book, Jonathan, said was, keep working on love. And to Kobe, knowing what he went through with his, with his family, and all the kudos that he gets as a family man, despite it all, and the accident that took his and his daughter's life, and the relationship that they were having, I'm just new to this story, probably like a lot of people are. But it's clear, super clear to me, that this man was working on love, and he was definitely trying to spread that. So through his academy, basketball academy, and just, going back to the first thing, spotting the potential in somebody. So to Kobe, you're gonna have always, of course, a legacy with me, but passing along, this book and what's in it is going to be special as well. And I'll definitely report back after I read it and see what else I can glean from it for you. So thank you. And so we'll move on with the keto diet and intermittent fasting, which is why you guys are here. But I definitely think that the lessons and the things that we spoke about before are all, really integral to health coaching and, of course, into transformation. Really quick, the last 3 weeks in Transformation Tuesday, we spoke about habit change and we spoke about goal setting. And for me right now, is I'm trying to finish my online course, and really what I need to do is create a lot of content. So I created this thing so that I could create content every day, and I just came up with this, cool little acronym for each day. So it's Motivation Mondays, Transformation Tuesdays, Workout Wednesdays, Tasty Thursdays, Fulfillment Friday, Synergy Saturday, and Soulful Sunday. So it started with Transformation Tuesday, which was already around. There was already a word that was already on. Now I'm on my 4th video here. So, the point is this, if you create a structure and you create a system and you stick to it, you're going to take steps forward. And really, that's the whole thing. Kobe also said it too. The dream is in the journey, not the destination. This right now is the journey. Maybe it doesn't go anywhere. Maybe it does. But without this, there's definitely no chance that the dream of being, this health coach, UpLevel living, helping people is going to happen. I have to create the content. I have to interact with people. I see that there's a few people on the call. Hello, Gisela. And again, whether or not people are on the call, the goal is to create the content. And obviously, if people are on the call, we can interact, we can ask questions, and it's better each time. So I do ask anybody who sees the video to share it. But the bottom line is I created this little, way to create content. And so I'm creating a habit by daily creating content. And I've made it a goal, and so I've set out my, my reap and sow goals. Which, if you haven't heard that yet, you can go back to some of the videos and check out the information. So today's class is going to be a little different. So we've done the habit and the goal setting, and that never ends. But today we're going to talk about the keto and intermittent fasting. In my coaching, I always teach on movement, meals, and mindset. So every time we coach, movement is exercise, meals is food, and mindset is everything else. So today, keto is more about meals, right? A lot of people want to lose weight. There's no doubt. Here's an interesting fact. In 1960, 31% of the population, the U.S. population, was overweight, and about 13% was obese. Today, so 40 years later, 2020, 60 years later, 70%, we've doubled. 70% of the people, more than doubled, are overweight. 70%. And 33% are obese. In some states, Mississippi is the highest obese, rated state. It's 49%, almost half the population. And that trend is in every state. No state has gone down. The lowest is about 15%. It's like Utah, and it's, and then it ranges real quick, or it goes up real quickly from there all the way to 50% in Mississippi. So what happened? I mean, from 1960, they're not too bad, to today, what happened? What changed? If I ask most people how to lose weight, they talk about low fat. It's still something that's pretty common, a low fat, low calorie diet, right? You're going to lose weight. Well, that has not worked. And the proof is in those numbers that I just said. And, science now is really turning this around and trying to teach people something new. Because the truth is, what makes you fat is a lot of calories that come from carbs, that come from carbohydrates, come from high glycemic, so they turn to sugar quickly, processed foods that are, a lot of times, that's where the carbs are. And it's because also carbs are great for energy. And if you're working out, if you're exercising, and you need 5,000 calories a day, carbs are fine. You're going to burn through them. The problem is we're eating all of these carbs. We're eating 70 grams of carbs a day or more, and we're not working out, we're not exercising. So guess what? Guess what the body does with all of those extra carbs it doesn't need for energy? Puts them in the belly. And in the belly, they stay for a long time, because belly fat is hard to lose, as anyone who has it knows. And we pretty much all have some. We're all on the scale at some, either on the low end or the high end. So what you've learned and what you've been trying to do, probably for the most part, is all wrong. I'm sorry to tell you, but eating a low calorie, low carb diet doesn't work. First of all, because you're going to be hungry most of the time. And starving yourself is not a way to lose weight. It's a way to hurt yourself. And it's a way that probably you're going to cause a rebound weight effect, and you're going to gain it all back. I think it's as high as 98% of people who lose 30 pounds or more gain it all back within 6 months, because it's not sustainable. And also, here's the scary part. Even after that happens, you usually gain more, because while you're on that low calorie, low fat diet, your body also probably slowed down its metabolism. So I'm just checking my notes here. So you can lose up to 30 or 40% calorie burning per day. So you're burning 30 to 40% less calories per day after you've done that low calorie, low fat diet, because now your body doesn't know where the next meal is coming from. It's afraid that it's not going to have enough calories. So it slows itself down so that it can do the most with whatever it eats. It's a double whammy. Now not only do you have to work out harder and do more, but it's really hard to reset that metabolism. So here comes keto, and there was paleo, and there's like 100 diets that are actually documented and studied. But diets are all the same thing. There's only three things, really. There's fats, there's proteins, and there's carbs. Fibers, some is a part of it, and water. But for the most part, those are your macronutrients. It's what your body needs most of: fats, proteins, and carbs. So before we were eating, we were told to eat low fats and high carbs. But again, if you're not exercising and your body turns to carbs first for fuel, and it doesn't need it, it stores it. It's not like it doesn't need it and it gets rid of it. That would be cool. That would be great. I'm going to come up with that diet. But no, it doesn't need it and it stores it. So now it becomes fat. So the other thing that these carbs do, a lot of them are refined sugars, and sugars just wreak havoc on your body. And sugars are as addictive as cocaine and nicotine. They have the same effect on your brain. They cause the brain to release dopamine, the feel good, serotonin. And so it's literally like a drug reaction, and it's sugar. And it's also literally like a drug addiction. So when you first start to get off sugar and carbs, trust me when I tell you, you will withdraw. You will have a tough time. And that's why most people give up. But it really only takes about a week to 2 weeks to get past that. It's not quite as strong, or the withdrawal effect is not quite as strong as, let's say, alcohol or opioids, or something terrible like that. You can quickly get over it, and there's other things you can do to get over it, like eating dark leafy greens. There's also some sugar substitutes, and there's a new one now, and they're not that bad. So you can cheat a little bit, and that's okay. The goal is to get really not off sugar. Nothing I'll ever teach you is going to 100% eliminate really anything. Of course, I don't want you smoking cigarettes and risky behavior and things like that. But to put yourself under the stress of no sugar, it's a very difficult life, and the stress you're causing it's worse than the sugar you're eliminating. So the stress on the body is way more taxing than the sugar that you're eliminating. So it's not worth it. But being low on the sugar is definitely worth it. So I'm not an expert on the keto diet, but so I turned to this guy, Josh Axe. Sorry, there's a glare. The keto diet. This guy's really good. There's a lot of good books out there, and really you can just go to the books, to a Barnes and Noble. I still go to bookstores. I know most people, probably prefer to go to Amazon.com. Nothing wrong with that. I like to walk around and look, and you may find something else there that also works for you. This is definitely not the only one. But the bottom line with a keto diet is you want to get a large portion of your calories from quality fats, high quality fats. So what are some high quality fats? These are things that you have readily available. It's nothing too complicated. Number one on the list is one of my favorite things in the world. It's avocados. So they're high in fat, but they're the good fats. They're the fats that are going to do the right thing for your cholesterol. They're gonna the LDL is going to fall, and it's going to raise the HDL. So it's going to fix your cholesterol problem. Wild caught fish, nothing wrong with that. Grass-fed organic meat. Pasture-raised organic eggs. So you do see a pattern here. Wild caught is tough to get, and it's not cheap. Organic meats, not cheap. Organic eggs, not cheap. Raw cheeses, so nothing pasteurized, nothing, none of this plastic stuff you get in plastics. Nuts and seeds, nut butter, ghee, grass-fed butter, olives, coconuts, dark chocolate, healthy oils. This is on page 27. That's a pretty good list of food. I'm not telling you to eat tofu and salad and, spinach all day long. The reason why keto also works is you never really feel hungry. I mean, you always would feel full. You're just shifting the calories. You're not eating any more calories. You're just shifting the calories from carbs as the main source to fats. Then you're having a moderate amount of protein, so that is the meats, the organic chicken, the fish, turkey, things like that. And then the lowest amount is from carbs, so 30 grams a day. Now, fruits have a lot of carbs. Actually, veggies have carbs too. So I would never limit, your fruit and veggie intake. Like, to me, you could never eat enough. But there are some fruits, bananas, two bananas, that's actually a lot of sugar and a lot of energy. If you're not working out after two bananas, don't do it. That a banana maybe with some peanut butter so that the fats in the peanut butter offset some of the sugars in the banana. But berries are really, really good. They're very low in carbs. Give you a lot of energy, have a ton of antioxidants. So the blueberries, the strawberries, raspberries, blackberries, those are all super awesome. I try to do a smoothie of that as much as I can. Now, a keto smoothie is a little different. A keto smoothie would be like avocados, coconut milk, some collagen powder. So collagen, 30% of your protein is made up of collagen. And spinach. So that's it's a little different like than the typical fruit smoothie. So you have a couple of those a week, and you interchange it from the fruit smoothie to something that's more keto friendly. So let's talk again. The fats, you want it to be a large percentage. We're talking about 70% if possible of your calories coming from fats. About 15%. Coming from protein, so you're at 85, and then another 10 or 15% coming from carbs. So a little bit of a rundown. Fats is obviously the main thing. Collagen is very important. Vegging out to alkalize your body. So just vegetables. Just the dark leafy greens are always good on a keto. Herbs. So we talk about things like ashwagandha is in here, holy basil. They're called, pathogens. They're like a little different than, like mushrooms and things like that. So they're not just the regular herbs. They're usually, a lot of them are roots. Turmeric. A lot of them come from roots, and I think roots, all kinds of roots. Beetroot, are super, super, they're all superfoods, and they're really good for you and lowering inflammation in so many different ways. So wherever you can add them is great. Of course, water, is 8 cups of water minimum, and then sea salt, because your body's really detoxing and flushing a lot of stuff out on this diet. Your minerals can also get flushed out. So adding a little bit of sea salt to your breakfast and maybe to whatever dinner is really important as well. So what happens with keto then is you're eating all these fats, you're not eating the sugar. So now where does the body go for fuel? It goes to the carbs first because it's always its first choice. But as soon as it does and they're not there or it runs out, now the liver starts to make a thing called ketones. That's the name of the diet. Keto is a ketones. And that's what allows the body to now take the fat from your body and turn it into energy. So that's a process called ketosis. So now that's why you lose so much weight on keto, is because it's actually using the fat for energy. So it's a very, and it does it naturally, it does it automatically. You're not starving yourself, you're just switching the body's fuel source. So that's what you're doing with keto. You're switching the body's fuel source from sugar and carbs to fats. So skinny is the new fat. I'm sorry, fat is the new skinny, because fat is what's going to make you skinny. Fat obviously has the name fat. So it has a bad connotation, but fat is just a macronutrient that your body needs. Actually needs a lot more than it does carbs. The cholesterol in your body, your organs need it, your brain needs it. So you're going to use it, as opposed to the carbs, where if you're not exercising a lot, you're not going to use it, and unfortunately, it's going to settle in your stomach. So That's the science behind keto. We're switching the energy source of your body from what it's been used to and what it's been trained on and what it's addicted to with sugar to fats. Um, and it will make amazing transformations in your body, in your brain fog. I always feel like I could do more of it just because it's clean eating. So here's the other thing: you're not going to be on the keto diet your whole life, but it's going to train you to eat clean. And you're going to then develop habits that are clean eating habits. And so you'll get off the keto diet, but you'll have a lifestyle that's complementary of the keto diet. So you can go up a little bit in carbs, but you're working out. You have movement. You could go up a little bit in carbs, but they're the better carbs. Maybe they're the berries. And you just learn a lifestyle and you stop trying to lose weight and you're just doing your life and you're losing weight. So, you know, please try it. It talks about cancer fighting in here. It talks about, diabetes, lowering inflammation, a lot of great stories, a lot of success from it. And so try it. Let me know how it works for you. If you need my help, for sure, John at UpLevel Living, get in touch with me. I'll walk you through it. I'll help you get through it. And then if you add intermittent fasting to it, you really accelerate the results. It's not anything dangerous, really. It's not anything, gimmicky. It's really how we evolved. And in the early days, really what we used to do is go to sleep when the sun went down, get up when the sun came up, work a little bit, and then eat. So really all it is you're just extending the time that you don't eat. And it's really good for the microbiome in the stomach to reset and give it time. Because pretty much Americans, we're constantly eating. We're in between eating, we eat. And the only time we don't eat is when we sleep. So, but that counts for fasting. So the intermittent fasting, if you stop your last meal at 7 o'clock at night and you don't eat again anything until 7 in the morning, you've just fasted for 12 hours, which is good. That's really good. If you don't eat after dinner, that's really good. Start there. Don't do anything else. That'll be the first step. After dinner, 7 o'clock, don't eat anything else. You can have some water. Don't eat anything else. When you get up, have breakfast. Do that for about a month. Then the next step would be taking away or not having the breakfast. So you can have some coffee, you can have some tea, just kind of getting through the morning. And then maybe at 11 o'clock, they say go for a little walk, and then you're ready to eat at noon. Now you just extended the fast from 12 hours, 8, 9, 10, so 13, 14, 15, 16, or 17 hours. So 16 hours, you're going to do some, really good things for your gut, really good things for your body, really good things to cleanse. And combined with the keto, get really the best results out of it as far as the weight loss. So it's something you can do in combination. Of course, anything you do, you get permission from your doctor first. I am not a doctor. I don't prescribe medicine, and I don't treat illnesses. I don't diagnose illnesses. So this is what has worked for me. This is what has worked for millions of people. But you should do everything, properly. I think that's pretty much all I have. I do love the keto diet, and again, I never teach diets, but I think you need some discipline as far as what works and what doesn't work for you. So trying this and doing this will train those clean eating habits that you want to develop. So nothing wrong with that. And then you get off the diet and you live your life, but you've learned how to sustain it. That's the key, right? Sustainable eating. You go on a diet that you got to count calories and you can't eat this and that and the other, at all. And you're starving yourself. It's not going to work, people. It's never worked, and even Weight Watchers has come around to the fact. That's all for tonight. God bless, and thank you for tuning in to Transformation Tuesday. I'll see you guys next week. John Garcia, UpLevel Living, signing off. Bye-bye.